This is the Ruckus and the Menace.
Challenge accepted.
No. Oh, no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go.
There it is.
There's the winner.
Look at that.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, episode number 155. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
I'm Spenace the Menace.
And we'll get to the starting lineup here in a little bit, but first, we'll talk about our lights, camera, action, then our good, bad, and ugly, wah wah wah, and then our stud and dud of the week, and then we have high heat, and then we end on film room. So, alright. Let's do the transaction log. Alright. So, under the pseudonym Harry Styles, known for being a member of One Direction, ran the Berlin Marathon in under 3 hours. Kudos. I wouldn't even think about doing that, but, I mean...
I think the actual time, if I remember it correctly, it was 2 hours, 51 minutes, or 59 minutes and 21 seconds. He actually bested his Tokyo Marathon time, because he also ran that one. It was 2 hours, 59 minutes and 13 seconds. He had competed in the Tokyo Marathon earlier this year and finished at 3 hours, 24 minutes and 7 seconds. And Styles is kind of at the age between you and I.
Yeah. I remember him. I just didn't think he was much of a runner, but here we are.
Gotta have some cardio if you're in a boy band.
Yep. All right.
Keep going.
And then the next one we have someone has joined the chat, and I hear, hi, I'm Dart Simpson. Who the hell are you? He is getting his job starting for the Giants after Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. I don't know how else to put it. And also the Giants just suck.
His first game will be against the Chargers, and if he's telling Justin Herbert to eat his shorts after the game, we got a problem.
I'm a wiener balloon just going whoop with Skinner's big old butt. We haven't even gotten into the last part of the transaction log, which is the best part of the transaction log. It is me meeting up with Bobby Witt Jr., and it was part of a fan appreciation day at the K. It was just, I was blown away at how tall that outfield fence is. Because usually on TV you're like, oh, that's just a little teeny tiny fence. We could just just grab that. Insanity. It's like you need a ladder to get out there. And then the grass was an interesting way of how it kind of flowed. It doesn't flow like a lawn would, like in a front lawn or your back porch or whatever. That was news to me. And then I got to meet a few Royals players. John Rave was there, Luke Maley, mainly a bunch of just players that have been there. Obviously, I talked about Bobby Witt, John Rave, I probably already mentioned him, Randall Gritchick, and a few others. I'll have the photos up on the screen. Pretty cool experience, but I'm done blabbering about it.
And Ruckus also forgot that he possibly could have gotten something that would have had traction, but...
Yeah. So...
I was going to say that Ruckus fumbled the bag, but at the same time, I think Ruckus, still in his starstruck state, got a very good moment. next.
But what I was doing in that moment in the photo, I was going, Bobby, and then I realized that the video wasn't going, so I was like, that sucked. And then whenever you told me, bro, you should have like got him to like plug the podcast, like Ruckus and The Menace Sports Pod, and like a video intro, and I was like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea if I thought of it at the time. Anyways.
Or it would have been me giving him a reminder if he knew in advance.
I had no idea it was Fan Appreciation Day, for the record. My neighbor was like, "Hey, man, do you want to like go to this game?" Because we were hanging out with his good friend from Montana, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Let's hang out with the bros. Let's get out of the house, do some stuff." And that's when I was like, it like all kind of hit me, I guess a little bit. I didn't really, I don't know. I kind of went in blind, but
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep
But
going.
still, for you to have at least a moment around Bobby Witt Jr. and yeah, I think it's a little bit different, of course, because I've had a little more experience of having said moment and being able to do certain things in the interview scale from my time there. If you want certain stories about some of that, I can make some spare thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. I might actually put some of my notable ones from, or notable like memories of watching some guys that have made the pros grow up. Because I mean, y'all have known my stories behind like with Tyson Bajent and talking about Trayvon Wesco, because I've mentioned it.
Oh, I could have told
But
you about Deron Lowe, my this kid that was like in the same age as me and grade. And I remember, I think I probably talked about this before on the pod, but I like beat him in 1v1 basketball. So if you're out there, Deron, I will challenge you. Anyways, let's keep going.
yep. But we now move to our one of our major non-sporting segments of Lights Camera Action, where we get to talk about some things we've been watching or playing.
Ready for me?
And for me, well, since you kind of took over the
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the starting lineup, I'll go ahead and start here. I have not had anything that the missus and I have watched together at the moment, other than our usual activity. So nothing new there. But I did get to watch on my own, or at least the initial starting point was on my own. Sarah eventually joined me for the newest season of the Great Food Truck Race, and I had watched the Savannah Bananas episode. No, Coach Rack was not on the Food Network, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure you've heard of this one, right, Ruckus? Where a bunch of food trucks are competing, and whoever makes the least amount of money in an episode goes home.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But all of the food trucks have unique cuisines, unique challenges. There's a lot of Asian food in this season, and they do it in different regions throughout the country. So this one's kind of centered around the southeast. So they started in Savannah. They're working their way up the southern end of the eastern seaboard. So they'll go to Charleston, South Carolina, and then eventually make their way up toward the Virginia Beach area. But as far as what I've been playing, I've been messing around a little bit on NBA 2K26's My Career, doing key games. Mario Kart World, but the biggest new one that I've done is getting into the early access of EA's new skate game. And I was actually impressed with the gameplay that they brought out. The art style probably wasn't my favorite. Like, it looks like very like cartoony, for a game that has such realistic skating controls. But I will say that the controls for, and especially the streamlined flipping for newer players kind of coming in, was surprisingly impressive.
I still need to check
And
that
then
out, by the way. But I'm
yep.
excited.
And then I'm mostly just waiting for a couple of other games to come out at the moment. As I will have Ghost of Yote releasing next week, and in about 3 weeks I'll have Pokemon Legends ZA. So I am going to be probably streamlining a lot of recording for this one's for Sam, so that I can get ahead of schedule and just lock in.
Sounds
Lock
like a
in, because
plan.
this isn't for Sam in terms of playing Ghost of Yote and Legend ZA. This is this is for Lam and getting some more Game of the Year content to try and push.
Okay.
But Ruckus, where are you at?
All right. So, as far as watching per se, I've been listening in the background some Franklin and Bash. It's just something nice to really chill and decompress with, but also just something just in the background that just melts time. Other than that, uh, nothing else really. Or actually, I started this like little docu series on Netflix for crime bosses in New York, just to like see how bad it all was. And not gonna lie, that seems pretty believable to me. That's crazy. Yeah. As far as playing, mainly Helldivers 2. I love what they've done with it so far, and also just keeping things fresh and new, while also making it just fun consistently, which is what's kind of plagued uh, games that become more relevant and or popular become uh, it just becomes a fest of its own. But other than that, I've been trying to play some Madden and a mix of other games like Balatro. I've finally beaten everything on White Stake difficulty um, for Balatro, but I still need to get those other decks. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it there. Are we ready for the good, bad, ugly?
Yep.
All right, rolling it. All right. So for the good this week, we have Go Ahead Spenace.
It is the final week of the Major League Baseball playoff or regular season, and playoff baseball is almost here. Some of us are more excited than others, especially because my Red Sox are still hanging around.
I didn't see the
But
Devers bomb make it to where it literally turned everything around.
well, trading Devers, I will say this: where your team is sitting at is where I thought we would have ended up, or as the Red Sox, I would have thought we would have ended up there.
Like underproduced.
Where, well, probably sitting like right there, just on the outside. But
It's kind of like
where, where,
that meme with I think it was Narcos, where he's just like kind of sitting there patiently.
yep,
Right?
something along those lines. But for the NL, 5 out of the 6 playoff teams are known. And they are the Philadelphia Phillies, Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Dodgers, and San Diego Padres. And there are a few teams within just small amounts fighting for one playoff spot. Meanwhile, in the AL, only one playoff team is known. There's a division race between the Guardians and Tigers and Mariners and Astros where there's potential position jockeying. But I think the Mariners are preparing to put the AL West away. But notably, the Yankees are atop the wild card, but
No
the Red
surprise.
Sox, Tigers, and Astros are all battling for 2 spots. So there is the potential for an odd man out. Or, if it all goes interestingly well enough, a potential game 163, which has not really had very much deployment. But game 163 could realistically happen.
That'd be a
AL
lot of fun to
playoffs
watch,
the
honestly.
right
I
way.
didn't think of that.
Oh yeah. You weren't thinking of that, but I'm like, you've got all these teams fighting for one play. Like you've got 3 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots, and
That shit hasn't
all of them
happened
are
since
within
like
a half a game of each other.
2018, I think, when it was the Cubs and the Rockies, right?
Or there was something along those lines where there was a game 163.
And then I think the Rockies beat the Cubs, and then the Rockies were like pretty far in after that, I believe.
I know that was I think that was a 2007.
I thought it was 2018 because it was the Cubs, and then the Cubs choked, and then they played the wild card, I think, the next day, and they lost again.
163. Yeah, it looks like 163 could have possibly, may possibly not be something anymore. Because I think 2021 was, the last time where there was something close.
Yeah.
As matchups could be tiebreakers. But there was, I think, the notable game 163 you're talking about, I think, was 2000. I think it was 2007. I think it might have been 07 you were talking about. Yeah, 2007, where it was the Rockies and the Padres.
I was saying Rockies and Chicago Cubs. The Cubs, it had to be. Hold on. Cubs, Rockies postseason series. Okay, on Google AI, it says the Chicago Cubs defeated the Colorado Rockies in the 2018 National League wildcard game at Wrigley.
That was that was an NL Central. That was the NL Central race.
Okay,
Yeah,
but wasn't there a game before that where it was the Cubs were in game like 163 or something like that?
Yeah, the Cubs were in game 163 in 2018, and
against
they
the
lost
Brewers.
in the wild card. Yeah, against the Brewers, and they lost in the wild card to the Rockies.
Sounds like I figured it out.
Yeah, you were talking 2018 because there were 2 division races that were going on at the same time. I thought you were mentioning 2007 where Colorado...
No, nada.
Where Colorado went from a wild card game 163 to the World Series.
No.
Yeah, the last games 163s were in the NL Central and the NL West at the same time. The Dodgers did go from a game 163 to the World Series, but the Dodgers won game 163 and were division champs and got there. Colorado was the only one to do it from the wild card spot.
All right, so the bad this week, the Bucks losing Mike Evans again. I thought he was out just in general. Like I thought that was pretty common knowledge. But now he's missing 3 to 4 more weeks over a hamstring injury. And I think that was what he was, or what they were deeming that injury was before all this blew up. But yeah, no fun for
Yeah.
the Buccaneers.
Oh, especially because that wide receiver room is dealing with being pretty well beat up already. Ibuka's dealing with a hip issue that has not kept him out. Chris Godwin's recovering from an ankle surgery. McGlaughlin, not Jaleel McGlaughlin, Jalen McMillan is also missing time from an injury as well. So the injuries to the Buccaneers wide receiver room may have to make them rely a little more on their running game, or finding ways to get Emeka Egbuka the ball. And this also sets the table for the downright ugly this week, as other major injuries to major players at the worst possible time. CeeDee Lamb injuring an ankle on a very, very dirty hip drop tackle. Yes, that hip drop tackle, if you actually watch that thing back and how his ankle went,
Yeah, gross.
like it was, yeah, it looked as bad as what it showed. Nick Bosa with a torn ACL done for the year, and James Conner needing to have a foot surgery done for what is likely going to be the season.
All right, and now we are
And
on
now
to
we
our.
can move on to our stud and dud of the week.
All right,
I'll let you roll, Ruckus.
All right, so for my stud this week, I have Jason Kelsey playing in the Ravens marching band. I thought that was awesome and very funny.
Good.
Yeah, like I listened to it, I was like, damn, okay, Jason, like you could really put him back either in the bar or but via saxophone, or that might have been a sousaphone.
No, he was actually, I think, playing a sax, but he was actually playing a saxophone, but no, because a sousaphone, I think a sousaphone is almost like a tuba. Sousaphone. Yeah, that's almost like a tuba. He actually was playing a sax, but I think it must have been a
Baritone saxophone.
yeah, baritone, yeah. That's what I was thinking it was, because it looked like a bigger saxophone. I knew that it was probably a baritone sax,
Yep.
because the altos are smaller.
Yep. I kind of secretly wanted to play saxophone in marching band, but I was just kind of like, I like trumpet. Trumpet's okay. It's fairly easy. There's like 3 keys, and you just have to blow air faster if you want a higher pitch, and like buzz it at like a lower pitch.
Tell you what, there are certain instruments that do get pretty good like solo parts in a like, say, like not just a marching, but maybe like a jazz band type of thing.
hmm
And trumpets are actually one of them. So usually it is mostly either your tenor sax, I think it's your tenor saxes or your alto saxes that usually will get the most. But I think also some baritones might as well. But I think the most common is usually is the alto sax. But trumpets can carry a lead. So
Yep. And then for my dud, I have so this trailer just came out like about a day or so ago. Um, but it's the Call of Duty multiplayer reveal trailer for Black Ops 7. I thought it was soulless and just shows the audience and how they uh, lost interest in this game. And But
Well,
I'm not that mad. It's more just I'm just kind of disappointed.
Treyarch mechanically makes really good Call of Duty games. But at the same time, I have felt like Call of Duty multiplayer has felt like it's phoned it in for so long. I don't really play Call of Duty for the multiplayer, but at the same time, I think that multiplayer modes in first person shooters like that, minus the competitiveness, most of the time just feel like they're phoned in.
I really like it. I really mainly like the campaigns of the games because I feel like that's what shines for the most part, besides the zombies or the Spec Ops. Because with Infinity Ward games, it would be Spec Ops survival and like the missions and whatnot, and the multiplayer, and then you have the 5-star campaign. And then Treyarch would like do zombies, a 5-star campaign, and decent multiplayer. But anyways, good old days.
Yep, my dud goes to CJ Gardner Johnson for not being able to play well in Houston's defensive scheme, resulting in his release after 3 games by the 0-3 Houston Texans. My honorable mention for the stud, and I'm pretty sure you saw this shot too, Ruckus.
Yeah, I did.
Commanders
It
head
was
coach
pretty
Dan
brutal.
Quinn for getting knocked over by Marcus Mariota, who was shoved out of bounds on a play, took the hit like a champ, and still coached in the victory over the Las Vegas Raiders.
It looked like one of those funny outtake things you would see at like the end of like a kids movie, where like in Monsters Inc. Whenever they like cut to the bloopers at the end of the movie. Remember that?
Vividly. Oh yeah, I
Vividly.
do remember certain
That's what that reminded me of. Just like a random outtake.
Oh man.
Do 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 do.
Oh no, and you could tell that they showed a shot of him celebrating the field goal by Matt Gay to go into the first half, and you see his nose all busted up, fist raised in the air. Oh my goodness! Like that is our head coach, DC.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the toughest coaches in the league.
It kind of feels like a Doom moment whenever you see like something almost just unreal like that, like just going and then being like, yeah. It's just kind of like
think of and that is how you
stone
rally
cold
a team. That is how you rally a team behind you and get a team behind you. And
well,
that is why I give him an honorable mention. My actual stud, though, Vikings cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. 2 defensive touchdowns in the first half in the 48-10 victory over the Bengals. He had more combined yards on those plays than I think it was actually he had more yardage combined. He had more yardage on those than Jake Brown had passing yards in the game. He was just short of Cincinnati's total yards on just those 2 returns. So he had more. Jake Browning had 140 passing yards in that game. The 2 defensive touchdowns combined for 153 yards in an 87-yard pick six and a 66-yard fumble recovery. Insane numbers. And honestly, that I don't think that was on my bingo card, is having a defensive back have more yards than a quarterback in an NFL game. That was not on my bingo card for 2025.
God damn it, you just had to remind me of that.
Hey, at least we know it still exists. All right, and and now that we're talking about football, we are going to continue this week 3 recap of the high heat. And Ruckus didn't get to watch too much football this weekend. So I kind of had to take a little bit of the heavy lifting on some of these takes. The first game I'm going to go to is the Bills 31, Dolphins 21. And my take on this is that the countdown for the length of time remaining Mike McDaniel and possibly Tua Tagovailoa as Miami's head coach and starting quarterback respectively has officially started. The Dolphins are 0-3. It's looking bleak there in South Florida. It really is.
Dude, you know it's bad when Tua is just giving up his body for no apparent reason, but also just the amount of just health concerns he now has on himself even after those concussions that he suffered throughout the years. But also Tyreek Hill just isn't the same player he was, and it's they just don't have an identity. It's almost similar to the Chiefs offense in a sense when it comes to just how the team is lost and they're like frustrated, but in a way the Chiefs in a sense have a better sound staff coaching wise to help those people, whereas Dolphins, good luck.
All right, my next game, the Raiders fall 41-24 to the Commanders. And my take on this is not your typical Cliff Kingsbury offense. There was over 200 yards rushing in that game. Normally, when you're thinking of Cliff Kingsbury offense, you're thinking, oh, this ball's going to get aired out here. This ball's going to get aired out here. You might have an underneath route. You might have the screens to the wide receiver. You may have some checkdowns to the running back. No, this was pound that defense with the run. But another thing is, it also feels pretty good to have a backup quarterback where the amount of changes in the playbook between the backup and the starter are minimal. It just feels like the transition between the two is seamless. The whole gambit available to Mariota. Because he also fits the same mold as what Jaden Daniels is doing. Jaden Daniels may have a stronger arm, Jaden Daniels is younger, but it leads us to not have to rush Jaden Daniels back from injuries, especially when you can make the changes with Mariota feel seamless. My next one here is a 3-for-1 special. The Eagles defeating the Rams 33-26 on a blocked field goal from a slimmed down Jordan Davis, who ran the thick six back to seal the victory. The Browns kicking a game-winning field goal against the Packers, and the Bucks, Chase McLaughlin, kicking a game-winning field goal after having a field goal blocked to cause the Jets to go ahead. My take from all three of these games is that special teams is an element in football that gets scrutinized if it goes poorly, but provides major shock value when something extraordinary happens, as very little things involved, especially with these particular games, would have involved intentional script writing. In short, you can't make this up.
Oh no, he almost said a naughty word.
Oh, I just left it there with that opening there to kind of say, you can't make this up. If you were intentionally writing this thing, you may as well just go and play the lotto and win at this point, because that is some Nostradamus type ish. And I'm not even talking the Tony Romo kind. Bears 31, Cowboys 14. I'm talking the late games. And my take on this is seeing a Matt Eberflus defense get cooked by his former team, who is headed up by former Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, could not be any more satisfying than that. I loved watching every second of that offense work. Although that was the ugliest looking flea flicker I've ever seen, the fact that Caleb Williams catches that high toss on the flea flicker, and I'm sure you saw this highlight, and he just whips it right out as soon as he catches it.
I feel like Mahomes has done that at one point too.
And there was very little time from when he got up here and grabbed it, came down, whip. And it's in Luther Burden's hands.
I am so pissed I didn't put Luther Burden into my lineup in my work league, because I had Jalen Royals thinking, oh, he'll play. No.
It just went like that throw from Caleb Williams to Luther Burden. I think it went 0 to 60 via Spongebob on boating school speed. Went to 0 and 60 in the amount of time it took for SpongeBob foot to hit the pedal and go to the floor.
Did I pass, Mrs. Puff? No, SpongeBob. Why?
Okay, next game. The Chargers defeat the Broncos 23-20. And my thoughts here on this is that there's just something in the way the Chargers team is ticking and finding ways to win games that can make them a very scary team down the stretch of the season, should this continue.
It's a matter of time of possession advantage, and also just them clicking on all cylinders. It seems like it almost seems like Allen and Herbert still have that chemistry, but also the help of Mr. Harbaugh and just the overall way he has implemented shorter passes for Herbert. Like, it feels like he's doing that more than actually running the ball.
Okay, so let's see what the next 5 games are for the Chargers here. You got the Giants. Okay. The Commanders, that'll get interesting. The Dolphins, the Colts, and the Vikings. I think if the Chargers win at least 3 out of their next 5, 3 out of their next 5, and 5 out of their next 8, they're going to be really scary throughout the back end of the season. And the back end of their season is not easy, because they still have to go through the Eagles and the Chiefs back to back. So if they set themselves up for a very good start, I think the next bits, like along the middle stretch of the season after they get past the Commanders and the Colts and the Vikings, it should be smoother sailing until they get to the Eagles. And the last one we have, and Ruckus and I will both have an individual take here on this. The Lions defeat the Ravens 38-30. And I'll let Ruckus start with his Detroit Lions take.
I think the Lions are cooking with gas again. They're doing what they sought out to do in the beginning, which is keep things simple enough to where you can still find success. Because let's be honest, that game that they played against the Commanders and lost didn't shock me at all because they were trying to be too cute. And that's something that the Chiefs are struggling with too, is they're trying to do too much or just whatever. But anyways, this is about the Lions. I just think Dan Campbell's still doing a damn good job. It was a bit of an adjustment between what was going on after Ben Johnson left that first week, but seems like they're doing okay now.
But apparently, I think the coach also has some ties to what Ben Johnson was doing previously. So it feels like the transition was a lot more seamless than what was perceived to be.
Mm-hmm.
But my take is more so about the Ravens, who number one also can't seem to win against quality opponents. But number two, Derrick Henry's untimely fumbles in general are more of the exception rather than the norm. But success for the Ravens this season will hinge on him being able to secure the football more than what we were originally realizing. Yes, Derrick Henry has 3 fumbles in 3 games. He has, and most of those fumbles have come in very untimely situations. I mean, the late fumble against Buffalo, a fumble against Detroit. So I think Aiden Hutchinson said he actually had to get a pretty good punch to get the one out for on Derrick Henry. But still, untimely fumbling is going to be the downfall of the Ravens, especially if their defense can't step up in the gotta have it moments against these quality teams.
Yeah.
That's why I said when Baltimore beat Cleveland, oh, it's the Ravens just beating up on a team that is subpar. Ho hum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Baltimore has Kansas City next week.
Yeah.
That I think is, the next 4 for Baltimore, I think in terms of standards right now, the Chiefs are at about par with them. Houston is subpar, but the Rams and potentially the Bears could be quality opponents for Baltimore to be challenged and stretched. If Baltimore wins one or both of those, especially in a gotta have it moment, then they can kind of erase the stigma that's kind of on them right now of them suffocating in the big moment. But right now, I think the moments are becoming too big for the gotta have it moments are becoming too big for the Ravens to handle.
Yep.
And they gotta play like they gotta have it. And we move on to our closing segment of the show, the film room.
Yep.
Where we actually get to predict some football games. The scoring so far heading into this week's slate of games. I am up 25-14. Our first game in Champaign, Illinois. USC versus Illinois. Who you got?
I am picking Illinois because I just feel like since it's in their home turf, they have a better chance.
Yeah, I think that game against Indiana was in Bloomington, so I think I'm going to take the Illini at home against USC. Another big SEC matchup. LSU versus Ole Miss. Who you got?
LSU and Ole Miss. I got Louisiana State University.
Yep, I have LSU as well. And I'm going to give you a chance to change your pick here. It's Oregon versus Penn State for 2 points. And if I told you that this game is in Happy Valley,
I know. That's
in
why
Pennsylvania,
I picked. I think Oregon is going to upset Penn State.
we are Penn State. I am taking the Nittany Lions at home. And now the next one here. Alabama versus Georgia.
Oh, I picked Georgia. My bad. That's a no-brainer.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Stick 'em. I am sticking with this time. I'm not going to pull the McAfee flip because I don't think Alabama is quality enough for this. Go Dogs. Georgia. And that one is a 2-pointer. Arizona versus Iowa State.
Arizona versus Iowa State. I picked Arizona because I think they could be just like one of those viral sleepers where they upset the team that has a higher rank on them. So I just figured, why not?
Okay. I'm double checking something here because I know exactly what I'm doing. I just got to remember if this one's in Ames. This game is in Ames, Iowa. And I am going to roll with good old Rocco Becht. I'm taking Iowa State. Auburn versus Texas A&M.
I picked Texas A&M because that'd be kind of depressing if they lost at Kyle Field, but come on, home field advantage. I think it's A&M.
Wait, are you taking Auburn or are you taking A&M?
A&M.
Gig 'em. Gig 'em. I'm going with the Aggies. Going with the Texas A&M Aggies. And last but not least for college, Indiana versus Iowa.
I have Indiana.
Yep, I'm going to take the Hoosiers over Tight End University, according to George Kittle.
All right.
And in the NFL. And I also am going to add one more game to this. I will eventually copy and paste it to you as well.
Okay.
Out.
Okay.
The first one here is in London. Or no, not London. Dublin.
Well,
The
Spenace is seeing
Vikings
Dublin
and
right now.
Steelers. Yep. The Vikings and the Steelers.
I picked the Steelers because right now you have Carson Wentz as the quarterback currently starting, but it could be JJ McCarthy, who knows. But I think the Steelers have it on this one.
I think that the Vikings will take this one. I think that defense from Brian Flores has now found some way to be able to step up. And I think that they could probably cause some problems for that dinosauric quarterback known as Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking the Vikes.
Eagles Bucks. I'm picking the Eagles.
I am also going to go with the defending champs here. I nearly went the other way, But with the Bucks not having Mike Evans and I mean Baker Mayfield's a tough customer when it comes to playing well. I'm gonna take the Eagles in this one to be safe.
Yep. Colts
The
Rams.
Colts and the Rams.
I'm gonna pick the Rams because I think the Rams defense is going to smother Daniel Jones like a pancake and maple syrup together and just take him down. That reference is not in reference to really anything. It's just me being dumb. All right. What do you think, Spenace?
I think this game is also in SoFi. So yeah, this game is also in SoFi. So I'm gonna take Stafford in this one and go with the Rams.
Eat the
Jaguars or Jaguars 49ers.
I'm going Jags because the 49ers are in the shop right now.
I'll tell you what, the 49ers are
Or
winning games in spite of what they are dealing with. They are winning games in spite of it. But I don't think somehow the luck of the 49ers and the amount of gold that they've been striking so far,
it almost is
I
like
think
it was too good to be true, kind of like the Chiefs last season.
It's probably not going to pan out too much. I'm going with, and Liam Cohen, you better take notes. Duval. And I'm taking the Jaguars here.
All right, and then our last one, Ravens versus Chiefs, and
Chiefs.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs because it's at Arrowhead. You're just getting back into the groove of things after being the Giants. Let's get this dub. It's not gonna be easy for sure. I think the offense is gonna just try to fight itself. Like there's like some type of worm in the defense, or not defense, in the offense, and it's just traveling to every player, and just it's chaos. What the Chiefs have done on offense in the past couple weeks. Like my mind is just like, what are we doing? Like, what is this season? Why do I feel like so much like just utter discomfort in my mind? Anyways,
This game is gonna go one of about two different ways. But I think both are gonna end in the same result. It is either gonna be really, really high scoring because the defenses will find some way to not execute at all. Or the offenses are going to be so effective at shooting themselves in the foot that nothing is going to get accomplished. However, I think in both instances, the Chiefs are on par with the Ravens at this point in time right now. I am not considering the Chiefs to be what I consider a high quality opponent for the Ravens. I think the Ravens will win this one close.
all right.
And not force themselves to get into a gotta have it moment, or else they're not gonna win it.
Hopefully they don't lose by a literal toe like last time.
And on that note, that'll do it for this episode number 155 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Spenace, the Menace.
And I'm Ruckus, always causing a ruckus, and we'll see you guys in episode number 156. Deuces.
I'll say pounds, everybody.